some weed.
Got some wings and some weed. Ice cream bars is all we need. T-shirts, man, $300. That's if you want to buy one, please come holla. You know what it is, man. SOS Wrestling Network back at you again. Real Talk Pro Wrestling here with my boys. My homie, Kayfabe Connection. Go check him out, man. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit as well. My dude in the back, man, last but not least, man, you know, Dangerous T back there. Man, we just came back from this goddamn AEW show. Man, like, before we even get into anything, win, loss, or tie, guys. I mean, you know, this is as far as the show experience. I mean,
I don't want to sound like I'm just overhyping it, especially for all you people that didn't make it to the United Center. Just a little flex there, but it was. I don't know how it translated on TV. A lot of people told me it was loud, and man, it was epic. I mean, what can I say? Goosebumps. Like it lived up to the hype. I think there's people that might complain they wanted him to do another pipe bomb kind of thing. But as we were kind of saying before, that little "I quit pro wrestling in 2005" jab was enough, like subtle enough of a jab, where he got his point across and we kept it moving.
Right.
But how it translated live, it was epic, man. I mean, what more can you say about it?
Yeah, it was probably by far the longest sustained ovation I've heard for anybody. And I've been to a lot of stuff, concert-wise and wrestling events and stuff like that. And that was just epic. I mean, that was just kind of pure emotion, being in his hometown in Chicago and coming out like that. And, you know, to go on what Fred said about the pipe bomb thing, you know, he also even said that he's in a different place. You know, he's feeling a lot better. You know, I think his pipe bomb came when he was probably in the depths of despair in his life and wasn't happy with his job or his, you know, probably, you know, situation at home and things like that. He even said it out there tonight, so it really seemed like he was, you know, as much as we're probably going to the fact that he may not be in ring shape, so to speak,
right yet, now. Yeah,
I think mentally he's in the best place he's been in a long time.
Yeah, and he alluded to that too. That pro wrestling jab was the one takeaway, but the other takeaway was him basically apologizing to everybody there and saying, "Hey, if I upset you with the choices I've made in the last 8 years, like." I needed to be in a better, you know, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional place, and that's all I needed to hear. Like, I get it. I totally understand. I think at times as wrestling fans, we get super selfish, and I mean, that'd be like me getting pissed, like, Dion, you quit your second job? Like, I don't mess with you anymore. Right. Like, you quit your second job? Like, it's weird. We get weird as wrestling fans sometimes.
We really do.
And you don't take into account those humans have emotions, you know?
Facts. And I think along with that, what you're saying, with us getting weird as wrestling fans, a lot of times, especially, you know, wrestling fans, and when they get a favorite wrestler, maybe like a guy like a CM Punk, he's probably the perfect guy for this, maybe like Daniel Bryan as well. A lot of fans see themselves in guys like that. You know what I mean? So it's just like when they're walking away and they really probably don't get the answer that, you know, from that guy that they want, maybe they do kind of take that a little harder than they would, you know, maybe somebody that they do like, but it's like, hey, I like this guy. It's not like, hey, if they leave, I'm not, you know what I mean? It's not going to, like, upset my whole, you know, this foundation. Once he left wrestling, that, like, pretty much changed a lot of people's foundation as far as wrestling. I know people, like, even back then when he left, they were like, yeah, I don't even watch wrestling no more since he left. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. Like, I didn't really think that, not trying to say that he is bigger than pro wrestling, but I'll be the first to say it. Look, y'all know here on the channel, man, y'all know what it is. I will be critical of an Impact, WWE, in New Japan, whatever fucking company. I will be, if I think they're doing something silly and I'll be critical of them. You know what I mean? But even I can go out my way and say, you know what? One, I was fucking wrong. And two, I understated and underestimated this man's, like, I guess not really drawing power, but I guess his worth in pro. I literally did, because this built that the way that they react. Well, yeah, of course it's Chicago, but the way that they reacted, I think he probably would have got that reaction anywhere.
I got to just throw it in there too that, you know, AEW and their fans are. You talk about the fans and stuff like that, and, you know, there was a little bit of a complex there about going out, but I think that what finally happened right there was AEW was saying, we got our guy now, you know what I mean? And now we don't have to be the second fiddle or the stepchild of WWE. We got a guy that can go main event anywhere in the world, compete against anybody. And I would say that about Omega and stuff like that too, but CM Punk is on a different level. It gives them a different level of ownership, a different level of of, people are going to be, for the next 3 months, anytime Punk is on the TV, if you are any former wrestling fan, you are going to be watching, glued to that TV to see his matches, his promos, what's going on. You're more likely to go buy tickets. Probably, we were already seeing like our friends hitting us up on Insta and everything else. Like, I'm going to St. Louis. I'm going to, this, that, or the other. And those people weren't going there 2 hours ago. 3 hours ago. So it just takes AEW to a different level. And I think it's like, for the fans, the hardcore, it's finally this point of saying we're no longer stepchild to the WWE. We're no longer stepchild to these other people. We are AEW. We got our guy. Let's do this.
No, Fred, you got anything you want to add to that?
And I think to piggyback off that too, the energy that was there for Punk, surely you can't replicate that for the other, I guess, presumed free agents that are rumored to be heading over. But man, when that final countdown theme hits, I don't want to say the pop will be as crazy, but it's going to be on that intense level of just rabid wrestling. Like, it's going to be another epic moment.
Can I play devil's advocate with that one?
Yeah.
I know how you said final countdown, but just because the aesthetic and the sound of it, you got to do Ride of the Valkyries. You have to, because before we even go with Bryan Danielson, one, they're going to yes no matter what. Can you fucking imagine and
that song is public record too, so it's not like WWE has dibs on it.
They can't just be like, no, you can't use that. So they can use that song in the fucking y'all gonna trademark yes? Y'all can't do that. You can't trademark yes, bro. WWE. So yeah, I know y'all tried to trademark Too Sweet, man.
So we got the Dragon, and right there. You look, obviously, they've aged a little bit. WWE squandered their talents. At that time, back then, 8 years ago, they were the supposed, Bret Hart, HBK.
Yeah, they were.
New era.
They were.
But having those two talents, I mean, dare say they're the two biggest free agents we've seen in wrestling, quite possibly in decades.
It's definitely their biggest.
Since Hogan. Since Hogan went to WCW.
Definitely AEW's biggest signings. I will also say CM Punk is probably the biggest mainstream star they have that's kind of sort of in their prime. He's the biggest mainstream star they have, because you could say Jericho, but Jericho's past his prime. We all know that.
His prime.
Yeah, CM Punk is legit. Like, he's a mainstream guy. Like, he has a mainstream revenue. And another thing too at AEW, I think because I got the Sirius XM, and I listen to it sometimes. Whatever. Dave LaGreca gets the hell on my nerves. That is what it is. Tony Khan said something to where it kind of stuck with me, and it kind of hit home after today. He said the roster. He's like, dude, I'm using this to pretty much build akin to an all-star roster. And I'm like, dude, that's literally a great call, because look at the people at the top of the company right now. Champ Kenny Omega, the people that surround him, John Moxley, Adam Page. You got CM Punk right now, potentially Bryan Danielson. So the pieces are there. Malachi Black, I kind of forget about him.
And then you got the guys that are
Cody,
and then you got the guys that are on the cusp, like a Sammy Guevara and a Darby Allin, and a Jungle Boy. Those are the
almost
three
a Miro too.
Coming. Yeah, Miro's looking great. Like
Will Hobbs.
Will Hobbs. They have so much talent. Ricky Starks, I mean, his potential's kind of still there. We're still kind of trying to see where he goes. It's not just, they got WWE castaways. Like, they got plenty of gas in the tank. MJF obviously is an undeniable superstar. Like, MJF probably stands out more than anybody. It's a homegrown,
he's the most accomplished in
AEW
by
guy,
far.
if you want to live by far.
Put it like that, yeah.
For somebody that you didn't know who he was, to the start of, he was on the very first episode to now, there's nobody's gone further than MJF in AEW.
And only Tony Khan knows this, but after TakeOver Sunday, Adam Cole is done with WWE. Adam Cole, I guess, went on his Twitch, and you know how militant they are about using Twitch. He already met with Vince McMahon. The rumors are the rumors, he liked him as a person, but they didn't really make a big hot offer to him. Adam Cole went on his Twitch and said that his Twitch isn't going anywhere. Like, his Twitch is there to stay, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I know it's kind of nerdy to be like, oh, well, that means he's going to AEW, but it's like, what else would it mean? Vince is just going to do him a favor? a guy that he kind of doesn't believe in. He's going to let him keep his Twitch.
And then I hate to go down this rabbit hole too, but then that goes into that thing about that IP, intellectual property. He came to WWE as what, guys? Adam Cole. He had that name when he came to WWE. Yeah. So I'm like, and it's, we've seen numerous ladies come to WWE and have a name, and then WWE keep the name Dudley Boys. I mean, CM Punk's like one of the only people whose name they didn't get to keep. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, everybody else, when they have a name that's brought to them, they pretty much, it's like it's one of their trademarks now, so you can't use that name anymore. So that's a little interesting caveat right there. But I mean, I'm not trying to just make it seem like, oh man, I'm just looking at this with all AEW rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
That's the furthest thing that I am. Yeah. It's the furthest thing that I'm doing right now. Like, do I have some questions about some people in the mid card? Absolutely. Like I was saying to you when we were up here, who's going to beat the Bucks for the tag team belts? I don't know.
There's so many good tag teams, but you're just kind of waiting. Yeah, it's not really obvious who's going to take them off.
But then, and it kind of goes to, like, I've heard people say the same thing about Roman Reigns. If you don't have to take the belt off of him right there, or the Bucks, you don't do it. Like, if you until you find somebody you can take the belts off of them, let them keep running with the belt, man. But they have some promising things. I'm gonna say one thing too, like, it's kind of a negative, but it's not a negative, and it has nothing to do with the CM Punk stuff. It's more like on the side of AEW Dark, because we, of course, were there in that, for that show. Yeah, man, I guess I don't watch much Dark, but dude, I didn't know the matches on Dark were like 2 minutes. Like,
it's the same formula. It's just squash. Like, it almost is like the same exact match over and over.
It kind of really, I didn't want to like make it sound like I was trying to just be like, oh well, you're just
throwing shade.
But no, I'm just taking what my eyes perceived. I was like, dude, y'all just ran like 6 squash matches back to back, like this consecutively in a row. And hell, I think the longest match they had was the Lucha Bros tag match.
That was at the end.
Yeah, that was at the end. I was like, maybe.
And they kind of built that one through the whole day.
They actually really did.
With the early ones,
they really actually did, man. So, and I will say too, it's probably good on them that it was CM Punk actually, and like you said, let's get it out the way, keep everybody buzzing. You know what I mean? And like, you can have the merchandise go on sale immediately, and that's exactly what they did. Oh man, like that was insane, and it was kind of a surreal experience to be there once it happened. Because I even said this to Fred, I was like, even though you pretty much know it's like he's gonna be here, it's kind of like you still kind of have in the back of your mind that he's not going to be. You know what I mean? You still kind of have that in the back of your mind that he's. We even said it earlier, Trevor. We're like, this is kind of in his character. He was like making it too obvious. Like I'm gonna be here. So, like, it was way too fucking obvious that he was going to, be there. But still, I don't think that soured the moment. People were just anticipating him so much, just chanting his name so much. Like,
well, they did a really good thing of going ahead and getting that promo out at the very beginning. We've talked about that because, I mean, the crowd would have seen CM Punk all the way through. Yeah. Nobody would have watched the match. And even though I would say that the matches afterwards did suffer from the CM Punk letdown. So I mean, the coming down.
How can you top it? Like,
right. But they still put on a decent show, and getting out and getting in and out in an hour. That was nice. I thought, like you said, it didn't feel like a 3-hour Raw.
No, it didn't. It like I said, normally, because we've been in numerous wrestling shows. Hell, we've been in numerous wrestling shows together. Normally, when we go to a wrestling show, I am feeling physically drained by the time it's over. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. And I don't know, I always have a point in time, especially if it's like a road trip wrestling show, and it'll be like maybe third card from the top, be like third match from the top, and I'm like, all right, we probably got like 2 matches. I'll just be like thinking about the drive back. I'll be like, fuck, man. Like, it's like, all right, that's cool. We got 2 matches left, but got this fucking drive. But I don't feel that way with this drive. Like, I'm not going to say, oh my God, I'm super energized, but the way they condensed that Dark, even though, hey, we shat on it with the short match structure, maybe you can change it up a little bit. Have a couple squash matches. You don't need to have like 6.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them need to be squashes. But that was probably, as far as mainstream wrestling, one of the like quickest, damn near in and out experiences I've ever had. Like, it's just like,
it went smooth. It was just in and out.
Yep.
The T-shirt thing was clutch, man.
Yeah.
The CM Punk shirt. Dude damn near did a football tackle drill on us, knocked your drink over, like, just ran into me completely, grabbed me to, like, not fall on me, and then it was like, I'm sorry, like nose to nose, like I'm sorry. Ruben, shout out to Ruben Studdard.
Right.
Sorry, 2004. So yeah, he leaves and he comes back in like 3 minutes. We both just look at each other like, you want to go? You want?
Yeah. He was like, fuck it, let's go.
You know, Roadrunner status
Right.
up to the merch line. You would say what, 8 or 9 people in front of us at that point were like smooth. We watched the rest of the Punk promo from the TV. As soon as his music hit and the promo was over, like people were running, trying to cut. Like it was like Black Friday.
It really was.
At the United Center. And we were like second in line, like we're next.
Like,
and people are just going nuts.
Hey, remember, because she was like, hey, can you get me a 3X? And I had already got a shirt and I was just kind of hanging up there and I was just like, hey, player, can I was like, I'm not going back in that line, bro. I was like, I'm not going. I was like, hey, I'm up here. Can you just give me that while I'm up here? Like,
well, and so, you know, having the wherewithal to get an extra shirt of like, man, let me see like how this goes on, you know, eBay or something. Those t-shirts are going for like $300 right now. And the t-shirts weren't the only cool merch from the night. We finally, as promised, got ice cream bars.
They were pretty good too.
Dude, and that wasn't like some whack like Blue Bunny Walmart types. Like that was like Haagen-Dazs
That was some good
quality.
shit. It was some good ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like it was some real good ice cream, bro. Like
CM Punk bought everybody ice cream.
Bro, like you speaking of the ice cream, dog. Not only do we see shirts on eBay, what somebody
a rapper to the ice cream bar sold for $60. Sold, like not bid.
Yeah, $60.
It's just hanging out there. It's sold for $60 already. I'll sell my stick. I'll put my stick on there for like $40.
Hey, bro,
I'm keeping the wrapper. I'm framing the wrapper.
I will seal that fucking thing. I will put a fucking new ice cream bar in and seal that motherfucker up for you for $100.
Right?
Like, here you go.
like a dilly bar, like a Klondike bar or something.
But hey, it's frozen a lot, so it's gonna take a while to unthaw. But
I love at the end because that's where you got your ice cream was at the exit. All the people at the gates were handing out the ice cream. When you walked out, we kind of looked up and was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that was tight. It was the CM Punk logo, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like that was cool.
The United Center, so that was real cool.
That was cool. You know what I mean? They put they honestly, and this is going to be interesting too going forward because we know he's, you know, people, we all mature, we get older, you know, we are in a different headspace in our life in different times. I'm going to be interested to see how a non-disgruntled CM Punk operates. Yeah. Because all we've ever known of him, especially in WWE, he's been a pissed off guy. He, you know, he's been like, hey, probably don't want to go holler. You know, like he's like, shit wasn't going his way. Shit probably gonna go somewhat his way here. And it's like, how like
you see a different side of him.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
You know what I mean? That's gonna be different.
Tony Khan just sees dollar bills when he looks at CM Punk. Yeah. He knows everywhere he goes for at least the next 6 months.
He'll be catering to him.
Oh, facts, yeah.
6 months, anytime you need a promo, as long as you need it.
I think we're going to see Punk get his Slim Jim sponsorship back too.
Right, and the thing about Omega is Omega's not it's not a top running champion. Never has been. He doesn't need the belt to be over or do his thing. And you know, I just like you're saying. I mean, Punk's gonna be on top of that company within. It won't be long. You know what I mean?
I hate to say this, like, but this in a pro wrestling sense. Y'all know that meme where it's like the Virgin and the Chad. In a pro wrestling sense, Kenny Omega's the Virgin and CM Punk's the Chad. I'm sorry, like he's the Chad between those two. Like I mean, I like Kenny Omega, but it's like, hey man, I play video games and CM Punk's like, I don't really care about that shit.
The thing AEW's got for him, I keep going back to the, you know, they now have a top of the card that puts asses in seats, and everybody sits there for 2 hours to wait to get to the Punk match, right? Because he's the main eventer. So you're going to have these different opportunities now to really start building up that, like we were talking about, some of those younger guys in that thing, because you're just kind of, you know, you're there all the whole time to watch. You know, you're going to get people in, just Punk fans or old WWE fans to come into the thing just to see Punk, you know, and they'll be there the entire 2 to 3 hours. And, you know, and AEW just, you know, has an opportunity to really build up something different, you know, going forward. You know, we talked about their troubles in the past. You know, even the record thing live doesn't work. You know what I mean? The record.
Yeah, it's kind of.
It doesn't work.
And honestly, I'm gonna tell you why I think it doesn't work. Because you get stuff like today, how we had Chris Statlander record-wise at 16-0. She's facing some job. Of course, she's gonna go 17-0. She's going against like some like jobber. Like, I mean, that's like are you padding stats, or you know what I mean? Like, are we stat padding, or is this a legit 16? It's kind of like is this a legit 16-0 or you padding stats here?
Right.
You know, like it's kind of like that to me. And I don't, and like another thing too about that, the whole like, I don't know, just the whole the record keeping, I guess, man. It's I think if they're going to keep records, they don't really need to do as many like, oh, we have a number one contender tournament right now. Because I'm like, if you do that, you don't necessarily, why are you doing the records? Just kind of like, I mean, I'm glad you're keeping, tally of, who wins and who lost. In a perfect world for me, I would not have them having the records advertised. You could say it, but oh man, he's won 8 of his 10 singles matches. You can say that, That's cool. Like this kind of saying like, oh, he's won 8 of his last 10. That's pretty cool. Like a nice little stat. But like, I don't know. I think the record thing is different. Like, I'm not going to shit on it too bad.
I always thought I wanted it. You know what I mean? Until it happens. Either you have to go all in with that concept, or you got to go all out, or you got to just. You can't really use the concept.
No, you're right.
Because you really got to. If you're going to do the record, you really want to announce it when they come out. Put a graphic on the screen. Like maybe even like a ESPN type graphic, like they're 16-8, but they've won the last 8. Their last 8, in which they got road momentum coming. You can even build storylines like off of like, well, my first 8, I was in the right headspace, or I didn't have this, yada yada yada. But they don't really use the records for anything. They don't use them for storyline purposes, and you should. If somebody lost 4 in a row, you want to get out there. This guy's on a slide and needs a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
that's
he comes
true.
out there and fights a jobber, but then the jobber beats him, and all of a sudden now we're on to the jobber, who is somebody they're trying to build up. You know what I mean?
And even to add on to what you just said, I think to add the little record thing, to make it cool. Say like you a person, you're not a champion, but like you were on AEW, you own Dynamite, right?
Right.
Say like you said, you done lost like 3-4 matches in a row. On your 5th loss, they're like, hey man, you going back to Elevation or Dark. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? You got to like
the Premier League and football, right?
Yeah, you got to
regulate it.
Yo, it's like you going back there if you lose this match. Like, I think they should probably institute something like that here.
Well, I'm saying I always thought you could use records for great storylines. With like somebody's down their luck, or somebody's on the upswing, or somebody's undefeated, or somebody hasn't won a match. The Mike Rotunda of AEW or something. But they don't use those. They don't use those records for anything. And the concept doesn't work on that sense. But we're getting way off subject.
No, we are.
Tonight,
we are. It's about, yes.
But that record thing, I'm just like, use it or don't use it. But I think it could be cool if you used it. You know what I mean?
It's a fair criticism. I mean, you know how gung-ho I am about AEW. And again, the rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
That's one objective thing I can look at and go, what is the benefit of us using this system? Like, if it's not involved in storylines, then it's just kind of just there for show.
Yeah,
like,
I get it kind of a little bit.
Substance to it.
Like, because if you want to have, because that was their thing when they first, came on the scene, they wanted to have more sports, based programming. Which, if you have like a ranking system and people are ranked, you're going to have more sports ranked programming, because it's like, hey, it's more or less, hey, I want that number 3 ranked spot that you got, as opposed to, hey, you just, slash my tires and siphon my gas on my car. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, It's different shit. So like, it's whatever. It's fine. Like, I mean, and honestly, as far as I think records in pro wrestling, to me, they only matter in 2 kind of ways. We got kind of a situation like The Undertaker, when it's like, this dude ain't lost, whatever, da-da-da-da-da.
Sure.
Or if it's like a one-on-one thing, they're like, hey, this dude is like 0-8 against this person. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't never beat him. Like, I think those are like the best utilization of records in pro wrestling. But back to CM Punk, I'm going to tell y'all, I got 3 people in AEW I automatically want to see CM Punk face off rip. Number 1, Paul White. Number 2, Mark Henry. Number 3, Christian. I'm just fucking around. I'm fucking around. Like,
I was waiting for the punchline.
Yeah, like what?
Have you already seen these matches?
Like, it's like, yes, he's familiar with these people. So, nah, but I don't know. I guess the elephant in the room, I mean, the easy matchup is probably him and Omega. But you know what I think is an underrated matchup, because they pretty much were passing ships in the night in WWE. Malachi Black versus CM Punk would be kind of interesting.
Great. Yeah, that's gotta happen.
I think Cody Rhodes and him will have a hell of a match.
That's interesting too. Like, to see him interact with some of these guys that, are like CM Punk, Pentagon, great, cool. See, hey, like we were talking earlier, CM Punk and Kenta is bound to happen at some point.
Oh, eventually the Mox Punk is gonna be awesome.
CM Punk and Mox is gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh, what about Penta?
Yes, Penta and CM
Phoenix?
Punk. Yeah,
Oh
Phoenix, like, and CM Punk.
That's
like,
all
Pop,
right.
CM Punk.
Yeah.
He has a lot of, like I was saying, Tetsuya Naito versus CM Punk potentially if they, once they start working with New Japan. Hiroshi Tanahashi,
bro. There's so many options.
Bro, you know what's another option nobody's talking about? You can see CM Punk show up in Reseda. Or, you can see him show up in, I don't know, the Global Theater. Is that already doing that now? It's for it's PWG. Fred?
You said what?
You can see him showing up in PW, or
man.
You can see him. You can see him doing that. Like,
I wouldn't put it past Tony to allow it because I almost called him Alistair. Malachi Black.
He was there.
He has this big angle with Super Dragon and rejoined his other tattooed buddy from Ring of Honor,
Brody King.
Brody King. Shout out to Villain Enterprises.
Ski Mask Way.
They're still not canceled to me, damn it.
No, they're not canceled.
So there's AEW talent being used in Orange Cassidy. There's AEW talent being used in PWG. Man, Bola might be one for the ages this year. And based on the announcement that 3 Mendes is going to be, the anniversary show is going to be in like late September, man, we might not get a Bola till like October, November.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And y'all know what else that CM Punk, back to his promo, what he mentioned? And I didn't even think about it till we're just talking now. And like, it was kind of fleeting, but like he said it and then it just kind of was like, no, whatever, whatever. He did mention 3 words that I haven't heard him say in a while, and I didn't think I would hear on AEW TV. Those 3 words being Ring of Honor, and I was just like, I kind of like, was like, that's...
Just show up at like a random like final battle or something?
Yeah, like, I'm like, Ring of Honor's probably going to get in this somehow. Like, it's really like a boom. I don't want to say a boom. That's a bad kind of... it's a boom period. But all these companies are working together right now.
Forbidden Door.
Yeah, it's just like, we're getting into like territory days.
Dude, hear me out on this. Punk and Bryan versus the Briscoes. I kind of want to see that.
I kind of want to see that.
Punk and Bryan versus the Bucks.
Dude.
That'd be good. That'd be good too, dude. That'd be... oh my...
FTR,
they gotta have a tag run at some point.
Bruh. I need... Because this is like... Because we're talking about seeing... But Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. 2021. Like, I need that. Daniel Bryan...
Gresham?
Yeah.
Bryan and Gresham?
Bryan and Gresham. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi in 2021. Like, in my opinion, Shingo's the best wrestler in the world right now. I mean, if you think...
Most consistent.
Bruh.
Yeah.
And he had the most stats. Holla.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I mean, he's been the most consistent wrestler in the past year.
Whoa!
Semi-truck almost cut us off.
Yeah. Whoa, bro. Like, are you falling asleep at the wheel?
Yeah, right. Let's get around this guy.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, let's pass this. This your brother.
Driving late.
Right.
Hey, kids, don't do this at home.
Right.
Don't drive straight home after the wrestling show.
Hey, we only do this because
we got shit to do.
That and we're fucking professionals. So,
yeah, we are. We're trained professionals.
Yeah, we do this. That's what we do.
So it's like that's the most beautiful thing. We just got off on this tangent of like dream matches and stuff like that. That's the most beautiful thing about this because we've suffered through this predictable era of wrestling where it was like, LOL, Cena wins. No disrespect to the GOAT, but LOL, Okada wins. It kind of got to that point.
It was like that.
Let's be real, but he's a GOAT, top 5 of all time.
He's like that. It was like
but it got to that a little bit.
Yeah.
So even like that mistress of wrestling, which, would be New Japan, shit kind of got predictable, and you're like, man, why didn't Naito beat him at wrestling? Things kind of were getting kind of pseudo WWE-esque.
You know how I was. Shit.
So now we're at this weird state of like the possibilities are endless. Like fucking Bray Wyatt. Like we're already thinking of a million things he could do in anywhere, not just AEW, but just in general.
Right.
Adam Cole. Like, could we get Red Dragon back? Because Bobby Fish got fired. I mean, who's to say Kyle O'Reilly's gonna get?
This dude is literally me. If I had like No Mercy on Nintendo 64 and they had like an endless supply of fucking like created roster.
Right.
It's like, that's literally what it is.
It's just, that's the exciting part of wrestling right now is we don't know. Like this Forbidden Door thing, we don't know who's going to show up.
You never really do know. It could be anybody.
That makes things way unpredictable, which we have not had in wrestling.
Yeah, that's just the thing.
Decades.
Because I just don't want, like, and don't get us twisted, like, predictability in wrestling is not, like, if it's good and it's predictable, a la tonight.
Chris Hero, his adage, predictable isn't always bad.
It's not always bad. If it's good and it's predictable, like, hey, it was good, but, I figured that was going to happen.
It's going to be interesting to see if Punk's coming back in the I want to be champion mode, or is Punk coming back to put over new talent and kind of build that kind of, what's going to happen, like you guys are talking about predictability. I assume CM Punk's going to lose it's going to beat Darby Allin.
Yeah.
But then again, it might be a different Punk, where I don't know. It could be like some kind of interference with Sting, stuff like that. But you're right. It'd be interesting to see, is he just going to march through everybody to a title, or is it going to be a long, lengthy program that he's going to run with somebody?
Or Trevor, I add this on there or AEW can use CM Punk like a special attraction. We won't see CM Punk wrestling September. We might not see CM Punk till like November. You know what I mean? Like, hey, less is more. Like real shit. Like
agreed, because that's the problem with WWE. They just become another guy.
Yep.
And you keep them fresh. And that's the problem with modern wrestling now.
Yeah,
back
but
in the Bruno Sammartino,
you got to put him in, like when you go someplace, you got.
He has to be there
at least for a promo.
If it's a big show,
he doesn't have to necessarily be in the match.
He don't got to be in the match, but like.
Yeah, he could do a segment backstage, or he could cut a promo.
Yeah.
Like you could even bring him out after the cameras are rolling, and he could send the crowd home happy.
Just don't join a faction.
I don't think that's happening.
See, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I do not want that.
No, I don't think that's happening.
Him and Mox to be kind of the independents at this point. I know Mox still kind of runs with Kingston at this point, but at least everybody's in a faction.
I think he's gonna be the
lone dog.
Yeah, he's gonna be the lone warrior. I feel that because like they need somebody to stand alone by themselves.
I think tonight was very real in his promos. I'm very interested to see what his character promo is.
Yeah.
Good point. Are we heeling? Are we facing?
How he interacts. Yeah, how does he interact?
Right. Are we putting over young talent? Are we destroying young talent? Tonight was just pure emotion in his hometown. Welcome back to wrestling. The most important promo he's got coming Wednesday when he kind of determines who he is and what he's doing there.
Guys, I got to ask you this, and I think, I don't want to assume, but I would surmise that the top 3 Punk moments in wrestling's got to be Pipe Bomb, Money in the Bank versus Cena tonight. Am I right in that estimation?
That's a fair estimation.
Where do you rank those moments?
The culmination of his title run too. There for a while he had the longest title run of all time.
That's still number one.
Money,
That's like. But I can see why that wouldn't be number one for some people, but to me, Money in the Bank is still number one because it was special. They had a 5-star match off the damn thing. You know what I mean? And I remember watching that shit in, I think it was Fox and Hound, and Cena hits the AA, and it was like, as soon as he hit it, he goes for I was like, that's fucking it, dog. And then like he just kicks out, and I was like, oh shit, when they kick out of a move, you're just like, oh, like.
How methodic they were with Punk's entrance, and coincidentally, that's when he debuted that ringer tee that we saw the updated version of tonight. So that storytelling jumped over to the other company, and they're kind of, hell, even Cena on SmackDown was talking about blowing a kiss to Roman Reigns and jumping the barricade when he won the title.
That's funny.
Kind of trolling it. So it's like we've seen the storytelling leak over to a totally different company. But
bro, hold on, not to cut you off right there, but I was talking earlier. It was about the Malachi Black in his fucking eye. He's brought that over to AEW.
Brought that over,
Like, he brought that over.
Because we're in the social media age. It's like you can carry stuff over even though you're not in the same company. Like you can just keep it moving.
It's not like New York and Atlanta back in the, you know what I mean? It's not like that to where it's like, okay, so who is this dude there? Like, even though I still think Vince was kind of like insulting people's intelligence back then, because like we don't know who Harley Race. Yeah, they know who Harley Race is, bro. Like,
I'm kind of at a standstill of answering my own question. Like, I don't know how to rank those 3 because tonight, Money in the Bank was special. The Pipe Bomb was special tonight. Like, they're all special. I can't like.
That's so hard. And honestly, I hate to even but this was like right before, because it was a match that he had with Rey Mysterio, and because I remember I watched this shit back because I remember the Capital Punishment show. It was John Cena, fucking R-Truth. He wrestled Mysterio on that show, and he had an interview, and he said after this match, when I beat Rey Mysterio, I'm gonna do the truest thing that the WWE universe has ever seen. And I was like, dude, that's big. I'm a huge fan of foreshadowing, by the way. Like, I was just like big foreshadowing because we know what he went on to go do, and I'm just like, hey man, that pipe bomb. I don't know. It was needed for that time. It was definitely needed for that. It cannot happen in any other time, It wouldn't. Honestly, if that happened now, I don't think it had the same effect.
True.
Like I really, it is when because people just I don't know. I can't really explain it, but
I think people are more. I'll just throw my
No,
two
go ahead.
cents
Go ahead.
in. I think the problem we see now, and we've seen this before, but we really are seeing it now. People are almost apathetic with WWE for the simple fact of like, it's kind of like being with a shitty boyfriend or girlfriend, but it's like, oh, we've been together for so long, so that's keeping you in the relationship when everything else is a red flag. Like, so I think now you're never gonna like win over the WWE lifers, stands, whatever you want to call it.
You're not winning them over.
You're never gonna win them over. So the 50 and up crowd that has watched WWE since the golden era, they're not going anywhere. Yeah. They're not jumping over to Dynamite or Rampage. So you just leave them alone. And then, you know, all the other viewers, new viewers, casual viewers, people that used to watch wrestling that don't anymore, that's the key demo for AEW. Yeah. But I think with WWE, it's you know, shout out to Brokeback Mountain, I can't quit you. It's like they just don't know. Like, we've seen it so many times, cancel the network, and after this pay-per-view, I'm done. And then they come crawling back.
Right back.
It's like so just apathetic and hypocritical, and just we've seen it time and time again. So it's just like, I think people at this point, it's like Raw has been hot garbage unanimously from people that actually watch the product, which I know I don't, and I don't think either of you guys do.
I haven't watched Raw.
I haven't watched Raw in forever.
So when that demo of people are even shitting on it, like, man, Raw's been sucking. If they're the ones that are saying it, then why the fuck are you guys still watching it?
Why?
Like, how is it still getting like 1.5 million viewers? It should be down to like NXT numbers.
Bro, I used to drive over your house to watch Raw.
I was an English professor and would base my teaching schedule off of Raw and SmackDown on Monday and Tuesday.
I would say that they're surviving through the women's division, mainly. I mean, they do have the best, probably, women wrestlers on the planet at this point.
But wouldn't you say, like, the 4 horsewomen, and that whole state, like, that whole group of women is getting super, it's like, what else can you do with them at this
honestly,
point?
I think...
Yeah, but you got others coming up behind them. I mean, you know, Asaka came through. I mean, she added her stuff, and, you know...
Well, and on that same token, you got someone like Toni Storm, who debuted on SmackDown a month ago in his milk carton status. It's like...
Fair enough, but
you got Alexa Bliss with a fucking doll that, like, Papa Shango style, like,
they have at least it's something.
Yeah, they're like, I'll say
it's something, all right.
He said that's something. I will say, like, talent wise, they do have a lot of talent over there as far as the women's side of WWE. But like, what are they don't know how to use them.
What matches, like, other than Sasha and Bianca? It's like, what other standout matches have there?
I can honestly
Ripley, Charlotte.
I can honestly say. If Shayna Baszler was in AEW, bro, she'd be fucking monster, dog. Like, I can say that.
She would, like, choke out Jade Cargill in like 5 seconds.
Like, it's just crazy how I don't know.
It's like, she's ugly.
I'm not trying to turn this to WWE smear campaign, but it's just like you got to just kind of, and then too, I
don't like her titties. She doesn't look hot enough.
And it's kind of like comparing to the man this night was about. See, ultimately, when I think about CM Punk in this WWE run, it was. Remember what they said to Brian Danielson the whole time? We think you a B+
player.
That's literally how they viewed him. Because if you think about it, like, honestly, when I look back at it, should he have beaten the Undertaker streak? No. Should he have beaten Brock Lesnar or something? No. I don't think, like, dude, like, I'm like, you shouldn't beat Brock Lesnar. No, because there's some things I'm like, you probably shouldn't have done. That's fine. But should you have maybe gone over the Rock at the Royal Rumble? Probably. Like,
dude, the whole summer of Punk after Money in the Bank was fucking ruined. Remember at that time we were like, dude, what if, like, and think of how amazing this could have been. WWE, if that there was an opportunity for a forbidden door.
Buzzing.
You could have Punk just not be on WWE television, but at the same time be on WWE television. Like, they could cut to the Titantron and Punk, like, shows up in Philly at the 2300 Arena and, like, throws his belt in the ring and gets on the mic at a ring up. Like, you could simulcast shit. Like, that's what they should have done.
So that was the Mania. That was the New York, right? That was going into the Mania. That was in New York, right?
I think
that's
so.
29, I believe. With the Summer of Punk going into
the Money in the Bank.
No, it was the year after, because that's the year the year going after the Summer of Punk. That's when he wrestled Chris Jericho. I'll take that back. Yeah. But so even if you want to, let's just say, hey, look, you make the Summer of Punk. He wins the belt when he did. Goes off, like you said, he's making appearances, not even really wrestling. bruh, if y'all would have ran that angle with him and seen that whole fucking year, I would have. I'm like, bruh, you could have ran that the whole year and run it main event WrestleMania. Like WWE titles on the line, we got to find.
Well, and like he said in the Cabana Shoot podcast, what was the downside to do a fucking triple threat with Cena, Rock, and Punk? And
what was
like
the
Punk
downside?
said, he would do the favors and not win, but like, why couldn't you have had a triple threat? Like, what was the big deal about doing that?
And honestly, a match that nobody really wants to see. We ain't gonna talk about that match, but like, a match nobody wants to see. And I just think his WWE run was just a series of missed opportunities.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was just like they was like, well, no, we're gonna do this with this guy, or we're gonna have this guy do this, like. And honestly, they kind of fucked him when they put him with Ryback. Like, that kind of fucked him up a little bit. Not even like in the ring wise, but I just mean like, why? That's a momentum start. Why are you putting him with Ryback? You shouldn't even been doing no shit like that.
Kevin
was
Nash,
more about them trying to get Ryback over
Facts.
than it was CM
Triple
Punk.
H going over him at Night of Champions, and fucking Kevin Nash. Like, it was so blatantly just botched. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Like, I don't remember in the Attitude Era, once Austin got hot, they was like, hey, let him just take L after L. He'll be fine. No, that didn't. Austin barely took L's, dog. And let alone didn't take no L on TV. Shit, like, what the fuck? Like, I will say this, because people can be like, oh, I can't believe he said that. For as much stupid things as this dude did in the Attitude Era, I'm not trying to give him all the credit in the world, but hey, man, this dude had something for everybody to do in WWE Defense Rule. So I'm just gonna say that everybody had something going on. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, well, you over here, and you know,
A lot of that's the writers too.
That's the problem. They have writers. They don't have a booker. That's really the problem. WWE has had a writers for how many years? Like, you need a booker, bro. Like, you need a booker.
Wow.
You need somebody to kind of just have Vince go over it. What was that?
Hot off the presses, we got breaking Impact news. Christian Cage is taking on Ace Austin at Victory Road Saturday, September 18th for the Impact World Championship. If you are not familiar with Ace Austin in Impact Wrestling, he is one of the best wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah, he's good.
That will be a banger. That will be a 4-star minimum match.
Yeah, he's really good.
So, anyways, had to hit that.
No, you're
breaking
good.
news.
That's good.
That's on the pay-per-view all out?
No, Impact. Victory Road.
Victory Road.
Shit, they've been doing some of their best show like numbers in the years too.
Yeah.
So it's like, shout out to Impact Wrestling, man. And who would ever thought too that Ring of Honor and both Impact Wrestling, like, their lifespan would have like overextended ECW's? Because it's what I hate to even be sidetracked right now, but I'm like, bro, ECW was only literally around for like 9 years.
Yeah, better management.
They're like, for real, like, people can say what they want about Impact, but
Bro, look at Cliff Compton.
bro, Cliff Compton looks.
Dude, it doesn't even look like him. He looks like he sells real estate.
Bro, is that Biff Compton? Like,
Biff
Compton. Like, bro,
Biff from Back to the Future.
Yeah, is that, damn, he looks like he ate the other CM Punk. Damn, that's a big man right there. Shit.
Domino.
But yeah, like, ultimately though, yeah, because we keep going on a tangent, man. CM Punk returning, I think it's good for pro wrestling. It's probably good for him. Like, he probably was like, this is the thing he probably did best, and that's fine. Like, you're not going to do everything well. Like, in life, you're not going to do you're not going to just succeed at everything. So this is the thing he does best, and he's at a place to where he can probably do it the best to his ability. So,
Look, Vince has proven, and it's been proven before, it doesn't have to be even Vince, but wrestling works better when there's two dominant companies. There's two companies competing at a level that are on the on the same level. I mean, how good was WCW? How good was WWF at the time? When they were in that time, because they were competing against each other, and people were competing for seats and for recognition in the business and things like that. Like you said earlier, WWE's not going anywhere. They are an institution of wrestling. Yep. It's like the NFL. The NFL is not going to be all these kind of people come along. They still will be always on top, but it doesn't mean that there's not a place for other other companies. And it's proven that two really good companies in wrestling makes the best wrestling product for the fans.
absolutely. Now, I'll say even more. Like, on this topic too, let's get 3, let's get 4. You know, because it's like, the more places thrive, the more people have places to work. So it's just like, hey, go ahead, get your job in, get your work done. You feel me? And then, like, 2, I'm glad you brought that sports league comparison, because it's crazy for somebody to be like, let's just say, like, in like a football comparison, let's just say NFL's WWE. It'd be crazy for somebody to be like an AEW, like, hey, we're going to challenge the NFL, right? Bruh. I'm like, oh, okay, like, y'all running the same time as them? Because that would never work, even if they have a better project. Hell, if they even have better players, it would never work, because, like, people are just, like you said, it's so institutionalized to watching a logo, watching a brand.
Look, if you were on Family Feud and they were to say, name the top 4 wrestling companies in the world, to some average person, the first thing they would say was probably go WWF. They wouldn't get the E right, but that is so integrated into your ethos of anybody's been touched by WWF.
Right.
It just has. But it doesn't mean that there's not space for another company. No. And that's what I think the culmination of tonight was, is that AEW is finally firmly planted a main event. And I'm not dogging anybody else, but as far as I'm concerned, when I talk to other people, like people that didn't know much about wrestling, when I say Jericho and Mox are like, oh, all the old WWE guys, they would say that because like, oh, they're just getting like their cast-offs, and I can't really explain to them, like, no, not really. But when you say CM Punk now, it just changes the game. It just honestly changes the game for them in that company. And then I think you heard it in Tony. We haven't even talked about Tony Khan, because I'm sure it wasn't on TV where Tony Khan came out and thanked the crowd. You could hear the emotion in his voice. I mean, he was damn near about to cry. You could tell that guy felt in that moment tonight. AEW is on the map, more than it ever has been before.
Bro, to quote a great singing group, Tony Khan was like, "Tonight is the night where two become one." Well, shout out to the Spice Girls. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out to the Spice Girls. You feel me? Like, oh, this is, I can't see. Why, bro? That was like an abyss, bro. I was like, where are we driving into? Yeah, like, bro, where are we driving into? That was super dark right there. Oh my gosh, y'all. But yeah, that was the.
That was over. We got a little bit of
I'm gonna have to pay attention now, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off right here. Right. So you know what it is. Follow, like, share, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Once again, the price of subscription, y'all already know what the goddamn price is. It's free $99. It don't cost you a damn thing. So, I mean, do the biz, man. Shit. Follow my homie, Kayfabe Connection, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Follow Trevor on Twitter, more Trev, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit, go follow him. Me and him probably be out there talking about, Aljamain Sterling. You feel me? So just do that, But
you ain't lying, champ.
Yeah, hey, show your right, champ. Show your right, champ. But all right, y'all, we signing out, man. We up out of here. Toodle motherfucking Pippington.